Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for mid-June 2025. We are going to jump right in here. You have this koi fish spirit, it says there is always enough. You have this nightingale, it says love is all around. Yeah, very good. I think that this could say that there's a lot of abundance coming in for you, or you are just focusing on the energy of love, which is great. All three water signs had the Wheel of Fortune, and it could be that it's time for water signs to change their fortunes. I do feel it's time for, as I always say to you, Scorpio, it's like time for water signs to take the lead, to be successful, to enjoy life, all those things. So, it definitely could be time for you to take control of that. The other interesting thing is you have this card right here that says the end of a tough cycle approaches. So a lot of you could be, kind of like getting out of a difficult cycle or a difficult period of time and stepping into a much better period of time, which is a good thing. The other thing that I want to say here, Scorpio, is that the Nightingale, in one of the other decks I have, the Tarot of the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle, the Nightingale is this tiny little bird, and it's sitting on this like big ass egg on the card. And the Nightingale can represent it, can basically say you are much more capable of doing things than you realize. Like you have much more inside of you than you realize. And that is definitely popping into my head for you here, Scorpio. That I think you need to realize that you are like more powerful than you think, or you have more, more inside of you than you think. And I think you need to believe that this month. You have the Wheel of Fortune, the Four Swords, and the Page of Swords. The Wheel of Fortune can represent a change in your fortunes, of course. I feel that all water signs are trying to change their fortunes. The best thing to do with the Wheel of Fortune is, of course, to double down on the good stuff and to get rid of the bad stuff just as quickly. So we have to, take care of our problems right away and not let them turn into bigger problems. And when good things happen, we have to double down on those things. The other thing we can do is there's this snake right here, and snakes are guardians of portals. So the snake on the Wheel of Fortune says we can face some sort of fear, or usually it says that like fear is the thing that prevents us from changing in the first place. And we're not talking about like real fear here, like being afraid of lions or being attacked by a lion or something like that. We're talking about like a little fear, like the fear of success, or the fear of public speaking, or the fear of asking a person out, right? Those are the types of fears that will change our life with the Wheel of Fortune. And so I would encourage you to face some sort of fear this month. You have the Four Swords. I really like this for you for some reason. I think the reason I like it is because based off the rest of the reading, I feel like you are very clear on what you want this month. He's hoping and praying for a blessing. There's a person who's blessing another person in this stained glass window right here. And again, I think that's why I feel really good about this card in your reading, is because just based off of everything that's showing up here, I feel that you are clear on like what this is. All law of attraction teachers and stuff teach like if you don't know what you're asking for, then you're not going to get it, right? So we have to know what we want. And again, I feel like that's what the Four Swords is saying. It's like saying that you know what you want at this time, and because you're actually getting it. And of course that would be a good thing. You have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is a card of curiosity. We are in a time of curiosity, and I think anything that becomes interesting to you, or if you just like randomly become interested in a new topic or a new idea, I would definitely be researching those things, because that's where the most success is going to come from for you, is by like following your curiosity. And that's what I would be doing with the Page of Swords, plain and simple. You are a Scorpio. You are very good at being a detective. You are very good at asking questions and getting into things and under things. So I would use that superpower, especially if you're interested in something. With the Wheel of Fortune, what do you know? You have the Six of Wands, which is amazing. Six of Wands is a card of a victory or a success. Can also represent being celebrated as well. The other thing about the Six of Wands is that it can represent success after a difficult period of time. He's been to war, and now he's coming back from war, and he's being celebrated. So if you have been through, we know this because in your next row, you have that card that says the end of a tough cycle approaches. So, again, if you've been through a tough cycle or a difficult cycle, this to me looks like you are ending it and you are having a victory or a success. With the Four of Swords, you have the Hierophant. Blessings as well, he is blessing right here with his hand these two people in front of him. This kind of says that you've learned a lesson, or you have learned your lesson. Sometimes I feel that with the Hierophant, that he is basically the teacher of the universe. And sometimes he is blessing you because you have actually learned what you were supposed to learn. And that's it, and that could be the tough cycle that is ending here, Scorpio. Like if you feel like you've been, which I think is definitely true for Scorpio. I think that you definitely probably have been through some difficult lessons, or had to deal with certain people and things like that. This could be the blessings coming in. And with the Page of Swords, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Yes, even better. Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire in your life. It forms the tree of life. And again, I think when you get clear on what this looks like, then you can actually manifest it or create it. And so the Page of Swords is like saying you need to get curious on how this could be possible. Now, that might be like a little bit of a challenge with that Nightingale spirit, because again, the Nightingale says you are much more capable than you realize. You have to believe that you can actually accomplish this right here. And so the Page of Swords says, like, what would it look like if this was possible? Your big impossible dream. What would it look like if it was, even if you don't think it is? And I think playing that game with yourself would be very beneficial, because you never know. You might discover an answer. You might figure something out, or something might be more possible than you realize, right? And I think you have to go and prove that to yourself, that your dream is possible, or your Ten of Pentacles is possible. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this card. It says, be bold, make the first move. You have this full moon of Capricorn. It says the end of a tough cycle approaches. Yeah, if you're wanting something, I would, just go and get it, basically, with that be bold, make the first move card. You have the Hermit as well. And, the Hermit, he has kind of been through a dark night of the soul, and now he has found his inner light. It's another card that kind of represents the end of a tough cycle. So you have definitely learned something and gotten to the end of a difficult cycle, and now you're ready to kind of go to the next stage, or you're ready to shine your inner light. But I also feel, what did this card say? It says, be bold, make the first move. He is frozen at the top of this mountain, and I think this is not accurate tarot. That's why I say I think, because I don't actually know, but I have always felt, I should say, that I believe his next step is to come down from the mountain. It's very easy and tempting to stay in isolation when you've been hurt and you've had to put yourself in isolation, of course. But I think that really at a certain point we have to show the world what we're made of. We have to come out of isolation to do that. And I feel like he is asking you to do that. You have the Justice card. Justice is cause and effect. Justice is balance. Justice can be, needing to pay attention to the evidence. I think we all have to do that right now. We are definitely in a time where we shouldn't just take a person's word for something. We should look at the evidence and be a detective with the Page of Swords. So this goes for every area of your life: love, money, goals, spiritually, just people you're dealing with. If they say something, do they actually do it? If the answer is yes, great. Then keep working with that person. If they don't, then stop, right? And that's pretty much what I feel with the Justice card. I do feel like some of you, if you're waiting for justice, like a settlement or something, you have the Eight of Pentacles right next to it, right here. The Eight of Pentacles can be material success on the horizon, or it can basically be more money coming in the future. So if you are waiting for money from something, like a settlement, it could be a settlement. You have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands is conflict and competition. Personally, I like the Five of Wands, and yeah, sure, Five of Wands can be a challenge, but I think the fives have very easy solutions. The solution to the Five of Wands is to learn from the competition, because usually the competition is not doing something. So the Five of Wands is an amazing card to look at the competition, see what they're doing, see what they're not doing, and then double down on the things that they're not doing so that you can stand out. Really, this should be a card of figuring out how to stand out above the competition. And if you do that with this card, you will be successful. So that's what I would work on here with the Five of Wands. I do feel that it could be, I also kind of feel good about this in the sense that it could be a very social time for you. I think the entire summer is pretty social for people, so, you know what I mean? It's could be a very social time. With the Hermit, you have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands about carrying a heavy burden. He's carrying these 10 wands, but he is about to reach his home. Another card that basically says the end of a tough cycle approaches, right? I like the Ten of Wands. He planted these wands. They are his harvest, and now he's about to reach his home, and he's about to have a harvest. So it's like, yeah, he's burdened, but he's about to get a reward for what he has been through. So how bad is it? Not really bad. And like I said, it makes perfect sense with the other card saying that you're basically at the end of a difficult journey, or you are basically at the end of something that has been a little bit of a challenge for you, Scorpio. So love it. With the Justice card, you have the Ace of Wands. We have the Ace of Wands twice going this way. Ace of Wands is about following your inspirations. Ace of Wands is out with the old and with the new. There is this castle that's crumbling in the background, and it just says that something in your life maybe is falling apart, or maybe something already has fallen apart, which is kind of what I feel for most of you. And now it's just time to build something new. Now it's just time to create, work on that new creation, right? The other thing I would say is you end with the Queen of Wands. And so the Ace of Wands can represent following your inspirations. And the Queen of Wands, it's a very important card to follow your inspirations with the Queen of Wands, because the Queen of Wands has that sunflower that she's holding on to, and that sunflower points towards the sun. So she is basically following her desire. She is following her inner voice, or her inner joy, or her bliss. And I think that the Ace of Wands twice could be saying it's time for you to do that as well. With the Five of Wands, you have the High Priestess. Definitely time to trust your intuition for sure. It is a very intuitive time for water signs. And but I also think that water signs could be like, sometimes I think the problem with having an intuition is that you say to yourself, that wasn't my intuition. That was something else. And I feel like the High Priestess is saying, don't do that. If you get a gut instinct, a gut feeling, if you feel something or you think you hear something, you probably did. So I would be really like not doubting it and trusting it. Also, if you want love, by the way, it's not really a love reading, but we do have the High Priestess, the High Priestess and the High Priest is what I was going to say, the Hierophant. These two I look at as better divine counterparts than the Emperor and the Empress. So, definitely could be a spiritual connection. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Why card and this Message in a Bottle card. Yes, you need to ask the question why. Page of Swords, I literally said that. Page of Swords is a card of the child. He's like the true detective. He just asks the question why a lot. The Message in a Bottle card, I do feel like there could be communication coming in for you. It's kind of weird that in the second week of June readings, or this week coming up, the 16th, I think, is this week coming up, or whatever it is, every single person had these cards of messages. I don't understand the importance, but I don't know. There could be, it seems to me like it's a time, the middle of the month, where there could be a lot of important messages coming in for people. So I would be trusting any messages that you're receiving. You have the Temperance card, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. The Temperance card is, of course, alchemy, or turning one thing into another. With the Temperance card, we can turn a negative into a positive. We can also turn a positive into a negative. Obviously, I would turn any negatives into positives, and not the other way around, basically. And, that's what I pay attention to. Sorry, I'm yawning. I apologize, but I had to, fast yesterday. I have to get some tests done today, and I had to fast. I'm not allowed to drink coffee either, and let me tell you something. I'm fighting demons here, right? But what I would say, so I apologize for almost yawning in your reading. But you have the Temperance card, so, again, mixing things together. You have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is straightforward, diligent work. So the Eight of Pentacles is working on one thing, which I think is very important for you, Scorpio. It's like getting to the point. Scorpio has a stinger, right? Which comes to a point. This card, the Ace of Wands, I think they are saying, both those cards are saying that you need to pick one thing and make it happen. I kind of feel like this is true for everyone because we have all this energy in Aries. And Aries, this Aries energy, I think, is going to be encouraging people to see something through to the end. Meaning that if you start a project, start a business, start a relationship, see it through to the end, right? See it all the way through. And the Eight of Pentacles basically says the same thing. Eight of Pentacles is also amazing for money. I do feel really good about money for you, Scorpio. You have the Ten of Pentacles. You also have the Hierophant, Six of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. I mean, really good cards. If you're working on any creative ideas, I think the Eight of Pentacles could be, saying that you're going to be attracting a lot of abundance with those creative ideas. The Eight of Pentacles can also just represent material success on the horizon. It basically says that you could be earning more money for the work that you're doing right now in the future. So again, very good for money. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is, again, out with the old and with the new. I'm also getting creativity, though. Like I said, if you're working on creative projects or even looking at the cards here, if you have any creative solutions to things that you're working on, I think creativity would be, could be very profitable for you. I also love the Ace of Wands because it can just represent growth. And I feel like there could be a lot of growth just coming in for you at this time with the Ace of Wands. So, I would just keep growing or I would keep working on things that are growing in your life. And it's very passionate as well. There could be a lot of passion. With the Temperance card, you have the Fool. It could be time for some sort of leap of faith. The Fool has to take the risk of looking foolish. And I don't always feel this, but I definitely feel it for you here, Scorpio, that some of you might be taking some sort of risk that could maybe make you look foolish or could make you feel foolish. But I would do it anyway, whatever that risk is. Like, I would take the leap of faith, especially if you're being presented with like an opportunity or a creative opportunity with the Ace of Wands. I would be taking a leap of faith towards any creative opportunities or, any opportunities that could potentially grow for you. That's what I would be doing. I also kind of feel like you're over prepared here, Scorpio. He has this tiny little sack on his back, and he's about to go through the entire major arcana. The card itself says he has everything he needs right here, right between his two ears. So he has more than enough like knowledge and wisdom to get started on his journey or his path, and I think that's what that's saying. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is a card of adventure and charging forward. I would encourage you to be spontaneous at this time. I mean, you are a fixed sign. One problem, one little bugaboo, one little fly in the ointment in the astrology for fixed signs is definitely that South Node in Virgo, because the South Node in Virgo wants perfection, but also the South Node in Virgo says you need to do things without trying to be perfect. And so the South Node in Virgo does not actually want us to be perfect. The South Node in Virgo wants us to be messy and wants us to realize that nothing is ever perfect, and sometimes we have to get started on our journey, and and obviously it will change over time, and maybe that seems messy to you, but that's how life works. Life is not a straight line. Life is a zigzag all over the place. We also go up to the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. But she has to learn as she goes. So again, a lot of you could be starting something where you have to learn as you go, or you don't know all the answers. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords can be lying, cheating, stealing, of course, but the Seven of Swords really is a card of tactics. This reading is really all about you, so I would say that this is about being tactical. He is stealing those swords from this army that's in the background of the card, so instead of going to war, he is stealing the sword, so he doesn't have to go to war. It's just a card that says, can you approach something tactically, and if you can, then do it. It's about coming up with a better way of doing things. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this dream home card. It says, when you are living your best life every day, your dream home is your actual home. You have this impatience card. It says, it takes time to build an empire. Your desire for instant results can hinder your ability to make good decisions. Yes. I feel like the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands there are saying there aren't going to be instant results. There will be results. You will see results. You will make things happen. But, again, I think you need to realize that the results might not be instant. You have the Queen of Wands, the Five of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Again, the Queen of Wands is about needing to be bold and assertive. She really needs to make things happen. She has to go for her her goal. She really needs to make it happen. She has to follow the sun. She has this sunflower right here. Like I said earlier, I think it's going to be very important for you to realize that it's okay to learn as you go. So you don't have to know all the answers, but you do have to get started. And if you're thinking about doing anything at all, period, in your life, then I think it's time to get started and to make your moves towards whatever you're working towards with the Queen of Wands. You could also be very attractive at this time here, Scorpio, I'm getting. So if you want love, it doesn't matter what gender you are, I think, but it would be a good time to put yourself out there. You have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups can represent regrets or sadness, of course, but it's coming up in the good stuff. So in the good stuff, this would say that you are being grateful for what you have, and you're getting this bridge in the castle. Again, this guy here, he just needs to be grateful for these 2 cups, and then he'll get the bridge in the castle. And so a lot of you could be kind of like letting something go that no longer serves you. You could also be letting something go that hurt you as well here, Scorpio. So sometimes I feel that with the Five of Cups, that like in the good stuff, it can just basically say that you're, finally releasing something that's been on your mind for a long time. And then you have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups represents walking away from things that no longer serve you. I personally consider the Eight of Cups to be a good card anyway, because how is it a bad thing to walk away from something that no longer serves you? I just don't think it is. But you could definitely be walking away from something that no longer serves you. And he doesn't know where he's walking towards, but he hopes he's walking towards fulfillment. And I do feel that you are walking towards fulfillment with this card. So a lot of you could be either you're creating more fulfillment or you're walking towards fulfillment with the Eight of Cups, especially showing up in the good stuff. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is normally a never-ending nightmare, but coming up in the good stuff, it would say that you are getting out of a nightmare. Really the reading is very simple. I kind of feel like the reading is just saying that the end of you are ending a tough cycle, like that end of a tough cycle approaches card says, right? With the Five of Cups, you have the Four of Wands. Could be marriage. Not really a love reading, but there is, I think love is always available to us. And the Four of Wands says you could be attracting a person that you could marry in the future. The Four of Wands is also a card of freedom. It's a card of setting yourself free. We have to cross through this threshold to set ourselves free on the Four of Wands, and so that we can celebrate on the other side. And I definitely feel it's time for you to set yourself free or to focus on freedom. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Star. Again, the whole entire reading, there's a lot of stuff about your dream in this reading as well. The Star is like having a North Star, or having that one guiding light, that one big light that you focus on in your life, that one thing that you really want to accomplish. And I think it would be an amazing time, like I said earlier, for you to really focus in on one thing in your life and really make it happen, right? And that's what I would do there. You have this desk card. It says, pay attention to your work. Yeah, work seems important. Eight of Pentacles. Again, I think that it's going to be a pretty straightforward work month for you. Eight of Pentacles is just straightforward, diligent work. And so I would just focus on work. You have this dagger. It says, fears, worries, tense situation. Yeah, I would make sure to get out of your head. We've had Mars went retrograde in Leo. Mars is still in Leo. It will be leaving Leo soon enough, but Mars and Leo is weird. I think that it can make us think people are working against us behind our back and stuff like that. It could be true. It might also not be true. That's the problem with Mars and Leo, so I would just ignore it. You have this rooster. It says, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. Yes, again, with Mars and Leo, I would be very careful of arrogant people who have attitudes, people who have problems, all that other stuff. You have this funnel card. It says, period of frustration, lessons to be learned. So I think you are coming to the end of this frustrating period with the end of a tough cycle approaches. I think things are finally getting better. First, you have these 2 cards. You have this older man. It says dealings with relationships with an older man. You have this younger man. It says dealings with relationships with a younger man. I always clarify these people cards. That's why I pulled the second card. So I clarified these 2. And you have this excitement card. I do feel like you could be attracting a younger old person. If you're looking for love, it could be someone who's older than you, more mature, but maybe they're young at heart or something. That's definitely popping into my head. I also intuitively feel that you need more excitement at this time, Scorpio. I think you need to do more things that excite you, more things that lift you up, more things that make you happy. And, that's what I'd be focusing on with that card. But overall, really good. Looks good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.